right, let's go to Joe in Orlando. Let's get to Orlando. Hey, man, I'm Orlando. Orlando. Joe in Orlando. Wouldn't you know? What's up, man?
Hi, John. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm a big fan.
You got it, man. I'm a big fan of you. What's up?
Keeping it short, I'm 26, married, and I'm having troubles with my in-laws.
What kind of troubles?
Me and my wife have been living with my in-laws ever since we got married, due to going to school, going to work, and all that.
Hold on.
Recently,
Back that thing up. How long have y'all been married?
2015. So it's going to be about 8 years in November.
And you've been living with them all this time?
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're about to say. And I will tell you, yes, you probably have problems with your in-laws. My guess is, and I went to a lot of grad school, and I'm a genius. My guess is if you live with your in-laws for the better part of a decade in a new young marriage, you're probably going to have problems with your in-laws. Why are you living at home with your in-laws?
So initially, it was an agreement between me and my wife while we finished school.
Did y'all get married real young?
We got married in our second year of college. I had just turned 21.
Oh my gosh. I know that sounded like a good idea. That was probably even a worse idea. So you, at 21, you were a junior in college, I guess?
Second year.
Second year, sophomore. And what year was she?
Sophomore as well. We're the same age.
Oh, man. And is there like an apartment or a back house, or are you just like down the hall?
Down the hall.
Oh, gosh. So let me just back up here.
Yeah.
Sophomore's in college. Daughter comes home and says, I found my husband. I'm going to marry him soon. And we're going to move back into my old high school bedroom. Is that right?
No. So when we got married, we had moved from Puerto Rico here to Orlando.
Uh-huh.
So we had found initially an apartment just for us.
Okay.
But then her family came along and we decided to group into a larger apartment. Her mother-in-law and father-in-law had some issues. So they split up. We changed to a new apartment where we are now, which is a lot smaller. So the space is very uncomfortable. But tensions between my mother-in-law and myself keep growing throughout the years, and I can't find a way of convincing my wife that it's time to move out. Especially now since my mother-in-law, due to COVID, lost her job, so technically we're paying for the majority of expenses.
Brother.
And I'm not trying to paint that she's a terrible person.
No, dude, you don't have to. You don't have to. I love my mom. I love my mother-in-law. I could not live in an apartment with her for a decade, either of them.
Yeah. And so...
You can't either.
I know.
Your mother-in-law cannot respect you because you still live in her apartment. As the man who married her daughter, and this isn't like a gendered thing, like a paternal thing. This is, you promised to take care of my daughter and still living in my apartment.
Oh, she doesn't want us to leave. That's the issue.
I know. It's a catch-22 dance you're in. She can't respect you, and she doesn't want you to leave. And your wife is stuck. Dude, I don't say is you got to move. And I know that you know that, but there's no amount. This is 8 years, this is a decade. There's no amount of gentle conversations. Y'all may have to help pay for rent for a season, or your mother-in-law's got to get a job. There is no easy way out, but you've got to move, and you've got to move ASAP.
I know that. I just don't know how to let my wife know, because every time we bring the conversation up, she just tells me she can't because she has agreed to help her mom out.
Then you have to hear that for what it is. Your wife is choosing her mother over you. Your wife is saying, I don't want to be married to you anymore. I want to be my mother's, I just want to live at home with my mom. And so you have to do what?
I guess that's what I'm afraid of.
Don't be afraid of it. It's happened. It's not a might. It's an is. But sometimes my guess is you beat around the bush a little bit and you say, well, I just really think it's about time. I think you've got to be bold and you've got to say, it's time to move out. 60 days, we're out of here. You're going on a decade, man. How old are you?
I'm 26.
What do you do for a living?
I just graduated at the end of the summer, and I started a job at a software engineering company.
Okay. How much money do you make?
Right now, it's my first year as an intern, so $50,000 a year.
First year as an intern?
Like an intern position, and then after the first year, if I qualify, like they hire you as an intern for your first year, and then afterwards, if you make the cut, you go up to 70.
Man, I don't know a lot of $50,000 intern jobs. That's pretty great pay, man. So does your wife work too?
She works at a Walmart.
Okay.
Well, she's still finishing school.
Are y'all going to grad school or something? What's taking so long?
Because she's helping pay, and we didn't qualify for financial aid or anything. We've been paying out of pocket for college.
So you didn't go into a bunch of debt?
Well, I had stupid debt before the marriage. My wife does not.
Okay, good for you guys for figuring it out, man. Yeah, here's what has to happen ASAP. Let me ask you this. You mentioned you moved from Puerto Rico. Is there cultural challenges here too?
Not for me, but for her and her family, yes.
Okay. Is she from Puerto Rico?
No, they're from another place. They're from Colombia.
Okay.
They struggle a lot more.
Well, I don't know if it's a struggle. There's some, I want to honor the cultural differences where you don't just, a lot of Western culture says, suck it up, mom, you're on your own. And there's other cultures that say, no, you're part of our family, you're going to move in. So at some point, you got to, ASAP, you're about to lose your marriage, what's about to happen. You're sick of it, you're getting sick of your wife, and you're about to implode. Is that fair?
I already imploded on my mother-in-law, so yeah, I'm pretty close on like, my temper is getting out of hand.
Hold on. You're choosing that, brother. You don't make that choice. You got it?
Okay.
Don't say it's getting out of hand as though it's some other thing. That's you making choices.
Okay.
If you need to go get a hotel room because your mother-in-law is yelling at you or whatever, do that. Be a person of character. But don't blow up and say it's because of it. It's not. You choose that. Okay? Take ownership of your feelings and your emotions and your thoughts, and then take ownership of your actions. Don't let this situation take your character from you. Y'all have to, let me ask you one more question, though, before I start telling you what I think you should do. You have your eye on somebody else?
No.
No?
No. The only people I interact with is my wife and my best friend, who's a guy.
Okay.
Other than that, I have no other social circle.
Okay. You've got to get one, by the way.
I know.
This thing it's suffocating you, and you know that. The time for the conversation is now, where you need to take your wife out to dinner and say, we've talked about this, we've thought about this, we have to move out of this apartment. It could be that you rent a small house and your mother-in-law lives in your house under your rules, under your family values of this young family. Y'all have not left. Y'all are still children. Y'all are weird romantic brother and sister living in this house. You have to get your own place with your own values, begin creating your own, here's for me and my house, and your mother-in-law is welcome to live there. But you can't live in her apartment that you pay for anymore.
Okay.
And you've got to have a hard conversation with your wife. And if she says, I'm not leaving my mom, then you need to be bold and say, are you choosing to not be married to me anymore and you're choosing to live with your mother instead. You've got to be very clear, very, very clear about this. And hopefully she'll say, well, no, I want both. And you say, awesome, I accept both. I understand when I married you, I also married into your heart and into your culture. And I married into the idea that we don't put our parents in homes. They live with us. Excellent. But they live with us, not us with them. And that sounds like, oh, it's just semantics. It's a big difference. And then you and your wife need to have conversations and discussions. Who are we going to be? What is our future vision for this thing? What kind of house are we going to have? We're going to have a joyful house, a dancing house, a serious house. Where are we going to live? What kind of town do we want to be? Where are we going to be? Those are conversations that y'all two have together. And mother-in-law can come live with you. And by the way, mother-in-law has to get a job soon. That means you and your wife have to have a budget. Here's what it's going to cost to live. Here's what it's going to cost to buy food and home. All those things, you have to be very serious about creating a home. Conversations y'all should have had 8 years ago. You didn't. Cool. Period at the end of that sentence. Period at the end of that sentence. Now what's next? Now what's next? But yeah, Joe, you got to get out of that house. Holy smokes, you got to get out of that house. And I hope your wife wants to be married to you. Bring your mother-in-law along. It's in your house.